Hello and welcome back to the Angry Healer's Guides to Blackrock Foundry. I am as always Inquisitor and today we will be taking a look at Beastlord Darmac in normal and heroic difficulties. Everything I'm putting out here is for general healing. None of this is law, merely suggestions and helpful tips and tricks I use to help my raid succeed. Your best bet is to do your own research and find out what works for you. The healers present in this video are a Restoration Druid, a Restoration Shaman, a Holy Paladin, and a Discipline Priest, played by myself. This is a multi-phase fight with no discernible rage timer, in which you will fight Darmac and his pets, Cruel Fang the Wolf, Iron Crusher the Elec, and Dreadwing the Rylac, each of whom will have their own abilities and upon death will grant Darmac an ability. The fight starts with Darmac on foot and lasts until he reaches 85% health. While on foot, he has two abilities that he will use every time he is on foot. The first ability is Pin Down. He flings his spear at a random raid member indicated by the white swirl beneath their feet. The spear strikes after 2 seconds and anyone caught beneath it gets nailed to the ground within 3 yards of the spear and will need to be removed by killing them. Pinned players take a significant amount of physical damage, and all players within 25 yards of the spear when it lands will take a small amount of damage themselves. Spears will also remain until killed. This, however, will be more important for later. His second ability is Call the Pack. Darmac will use this about every 20 seconds, targeting the locations of random raid members based on raid size. He summons a large number of ads called Pack Beasts, which enter the room and begin attacking the raid. Now, they will always enter the room from the same location, which would be a small grated gate. They need to be tanked and killed normally, and they have one ability, Blood Scent, which is a stacking buff that increases movement speed and damage. After each on-foot phase, Darmac will mount up on one of his 3 beasts. There is no set order to this. He will mount whichever beast is closest to him when he transitions. He mounts up at 85%, 65%, and 45% health, and remains on the mount until it is killed. And the suggested mount order is Cruel Fang, Iron Crusher, and then Dreadwing. So we will take a look at Cruel Fang first. Cruel Fang and Darmac have 2 abilities. The first is Rend and Tear. Darmac uses this regularly while mounted on Cruel Fang. He leaps to a random ranged raid member and inflicts everyone within 7 yards of that person with 30-second bleed and a 10% damage increase from future Rend and Tear before jumping back to the tanks and doing it to the melee. The tank will always get this debuff, and this will require a tank swap when the stacks get too high. The second ability is Savage Howl. It deals a moderate amount of physical damage around the boss and enranges all ads, which are the pack beasts, giving them 75% increase to attack speed. When Cruel Fang is defeated, Darmac gains the Rend and Tear ability, which he retains throughout the rest of the fight. His second mount should be Iron Crusher, and Iron Crusher has 3 abilities. The first of these abilities is Crush Armor. This is a stacking debuff that is applied to the current tank, reducing armor by 10% per stack for 15 seconds, and this is also a tank swap. Tantrum is an ability that deals raid-wide physical damage every 5 seconds for 20 seconds. And his last ability is Stampede. He charges the location of a random ranged player, dealing high physical damage to anyone in a small radius of Stampede's destination and knocking all players in his path away. When Iron Crusher is defeated, Darmac gains Iron Crusher's Rage, which gives him Iron Crusher's ability, Tantrum. His third and final mount is Dreadwing, and Dreadwing is by far the most dangerous of the 3. And Dreadwing has 3 abilities. The first ability is Searing Fangs. This is used on the current tank, stacks Seared Flesh, which is a debuff that increases the tank's fire damage by 20% per stack, and is the tank swap. Inferno Breath is a frontal cone attack that deals a large amount of fire damage. It also places a fire dot on all players caught in the Inferno Breath at stacks, 1 stack for each second they stand in the Inferno Breath. This dot is dispellable, but it is completely avoidable damage. And Dreadwing's final ability is Conflagration. It applies a dispellable 6-second fire dot on random raid members, forcing them to move erratically, and it will spread to any player within 8 yards. When Dreadwing is slain, Darmac gains Dreadwing's Flame, which is, in fact, 3 abilities. The first of these abilities is Superheated Shrapnel. This is Inferno Breath that leaves a fiery void zone on the ground, and instead of being breathed by a 2-headed monster, is breathed by an orc. The second ability is Flame Infusion. This lights the corpses of the pack beasts around the room on fire, and will damage people standing on them. Once again, completely avoidable damage. Don't stand in the burning bodies. And the final ability is Seeking Embers. This causes all remaining heavy spears on the ground to deal small amounts of fire damage to random raid members. After Dreadwing is killed, Darmac remains on foot until he dies. Remember, at this stage, he can pin people down, call the pack, whose bodies, when killed, will now hurt because they're on fire, rend and tear, cast Tantrum, breathe fire and leave fire on the ground, and cause embers to track from whatever spears remain and any thrown during this phase to your raid. Healers, here's what you need to know about Beastlord Darmac. Tantrum is significant damage, so you're going to want to save your healing raid cooldowns for the times when he's on Iron Crusher and using Tantrum. His Tantrum after Iron Crusher is dead still hurts, but does not hurt nearly as much. You're going to want to dispel Conflagration as often as possible. You don't want that spreading if you can possibly help it. Inferno Breath and Superheated Shrapnel can get dangerously high, so you need to tell people that avoiding this kind of damage is the best, because it is 100% completely avoidable. And tanks are going to be subject to multiple stacking debuffs, Rend and Tear, and either Crush Armor or Seared Flesh, so absorbs and big heals on them at all times. Well, that is it for Beastlord and Darmac. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video useful. Please feel free to comment and like below, and don't forget to subscribe. You can also find me on social media at Inquisitor Aura, the Angry Healers blog, and the Dalaran Academy podcast, a member of the D20 Capitalist Network. Links are listed in the description below. Until next time, keep cool and stay angry, healers.